going to be coming back around in the airspace to do a fast banana pass at approximately 400 miles per hour. Takes him a little bit of time. Again, not quite as fast as today's airplanes, but here he comes from the right. The U.S. Air Force used the T-33 and the Navy used their own version called the TV-2 for over 3 decades as their basic jet trainer. And although it was phased out of the Air Training Command in the early 70s, it was still used as a proficiency trainer for senior officers and other missions. It wasn't actually until the 1990s that the last T-33s were retired from the United States Air Force service. Canada actually did not retire their T-33s until 2005. Some of those aircraft were over 50 years old and still in service training the young men in the Canadian Air Force. It's actually still being used in countries like Turkey, Greece, Japan, and Thailand. Here he's going to be coming from the left to the right. He'll do a loop for us. He's going to start out at about 350 miles per hour as he comes by. He'll top out at the top of the loop at 200 miles per hour, going to 4,000 feet. He's going to do a roll as he approaches the top. And come back down, and he's going to do it all over again. He's going to come into a Cuban 8, which will be 2 loops coming from the right to the left. He will be, as he comes down to the bottom, pulling approximately 5 G's in his over aircraft. By the time he gets up to the top, he'll be down to about 1 G just to start it all over again. After 60 years, the T-33 had been used to train more jet pilots than any other jet trainer in the world. Between 1948 and 1958, over 6,900 T-birds were built worldwide. 5,800 of those, including the one you see today, were built by Lockheed, and they were for the United States Air Force. 1,100 others were built by Canadair on license from Lockheed for the Canadian Air Force and other military forces worldwide. This particular aircraft was one of the very last off the assembly line in 1958. Here's the final loop. This aircraft was used by the United States Air Force from 1958 to 76, and in 1976 it was sold to Yugoslavia, where it served until 1986. In 86 it returned to the United States in private hands, and in 1990 the current owner, Big Dog Kerby Jr., and Randall Hanks, his late business partner, purchased the aircraft while still in its crates after it had returned from Yugoslavia. Here he comes from the right to the left, doing a barrel roll at 370 miles per hour. Nice and slow. This airplane in 1990 started a 2.5-year restoration project where both the airframe and the engine were totally overhauled, and this distinctive paint scheme from the United States Air Force Thunderbird was added. In 1993, the Air Show Act, the vintage Thunderbird was launched by Fowler and Randall. 16 years later, and over 500 performances later, it's still like a crowd.
For an hour. When you open the trunk, which one is really hot?
Here he's coming back from our left to our right. He'll be doing a 4-point roll. Again, most of his passes are between 370 and 400 miles per hour.
Tell her, Charlie thinks he should have kept it.
A little bit about the paint scheme. It was actually a paint scheme used by our United States Air Force Thunderbirds, Air Raiders aircraft, and for VIP and press rides throughout the 1950s and 60s. The T-33 was the aircraft used specifically for the narrator to get to a show beforehand and take press rides and make sure that everybody knew that Thunderbirds were coming to town. Our owner, Big Dog, believes this is his way of saluting both our men and women in uniform at home and especially those protecting our freedoms throughout the world. left to the right now to do a triple roll. I'm sorry, right to left.
Just a little lunar dyslexia.
Yes. I need to write an L and an R on my hands, I suppose. We have a cruising speed of 400 miles per hour with approach speed of about 150. We carry 813 gallons of fuel when we leave to go to other locations, which gives us a range of just around 1,100 miles. Coming from the left to the right, knife edge path. Great time to have your cameras ready. In addition to the new engine, we also have 1,462 new stainless steel screws added to the Big Dog line. We have approximately 4,600 pounds of thrust, 200 horsepower in the Hampton J-33, A-35, shaft, turbojet,
PayPal.
Probably
Curious things coming again from the left to the right. We'll be doing a slow one. Those of you who have your cameras out, now's a good time to get them ready. It's slowing down to about 290 miles per hour.
I figure if I send it to Kevin on his email and if Maureen looks at it, too bad. Jokes and stuff.
From Columbia, South Carolina, where we keep the airplane between shows and during the off season. We investment firm and gives back to the country we love so very much by keeping this airplane in top condition for all of our air shows. There are still over approximately 100 T-33s flying in the United States and the rest of the world, and this is one of the finest being brought out to the public. Jerry's going to be coming back from the right to the left to the slow pitch up at Show Center and go to about 2,000 feet to come back around to land. If you notice on the wings, we have what are called wingtip fuel tanks. We have carry approximately 271 gallons of fuel in each of those wingtips. They can be jettisoned off in case of an emergency, so you might need to land with a little bit less fuel.
You know, it really is kind of amazing to see the T-33 fly. It was so important. The single seat, the P-80 or later the F-80 shooting star was so very important to the development of jet aviation, and Lockheed just did a marvelous job with helping the United States Air Force transition from props to jets. And the history is amazing, isn't it?
It really is. There was a lot of thought that went into, well, the P-80 was actually being brought out at the end of World War II. Its purpose was to serve in World War II originally, but it wasn't ready in time because, thank goodness, we were done with World War II in time. And so when they were transitioning those young pilots, they really were not transitioning well because of the difference in power going from people who flying Corsairs and so you really needed someone in the backseat with them understanding the difference in the jet engine power versus the piston-driven engine.
And the P-80, or later the F-80 shooting star, was as a single-seater, there was no way to properly train the pilots.
That is correct. Lockheed did an amazing job again. When I sit in the back seat, I do nothing else but sit there. But when we're going from show to show, I can see everything that's going on. I have a full panel, so I know what our airspeed is, our altitude, every little thing that Jerry has in the front seat, I have in the back seat.
Including a stick.
Including a stick that does absolutely nothing but sits there. So as Jerry's landing now, a little bit about the landing for the T-33, you'll notice as he gets further down the runway that the canopy starts to open. He opens it about an inch at about 110 miles per hour. As he slows down to about 70 miles per hour, he fully opens the canopy, and this is because it is designed to be a part of the braking system on the T-33. So just watch as he's slowing down. He's not going to be able to slow down without it, and there it comes open now. It also acts as an air conditioner, especially on days like this. That nice bit of rush of air as you're landing does cool off the pilot, because unfortunately it's not very well air conditioned, being an older 61-year-old jet.
Temperature drops.
Spectacular paint job. I had the opportunity to fly in the back seat of that jet back about 1985 with the original owner, Randall Haynes. And it was the first time that I'd ever been in a jet aircraft where I got to put my hand on the stick and yank it and bank it. And to actually, I threw the stick to the right about 90 degrees back and just pulled as hard as I could. And went, oh, so that's what it feels like.